Justin Franson, honored and privileged to be sitting here with Dr. Barre Lando. He has lived, I said 20 lives, probably about 40, and all exceptional. Like literally pre-med, pre-law, psychology degree, then played football, 2 years at Washington State, 2 years at Utah State, chiropractor, just degrees from Stanford and sheepskins from around there for paramedic schools and high-end medical stuff, homeopathic background as well, and homeopathy and more. I mean, I'm not even naming half the stuff that he's done in his lifetime. There are very few people on the planet that know what he knows and have had that eclectic background that he has. And he's created a company called Alphabetic, and it's alphabetic.com. It's on his shirt, you'll see it. And it's one of my favorite supplement companies out there. And he is doing lots of agriculture on his own, sustainable agriculture that's not modifying stuff, not ruining the environment, not using a bunch of pesticides as well. He's doing it the right way. So we're in our whole body, whole brain summit, and there's no better person to talk to than Dr. Barre Lando. And so thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
It's a pleasure, honor.
Well, I mean, I'm spinning. I don't even know where to start, but we're just going to start with the sports. And when you're preparing for sports, and you're talking about whole body and whole brain, what comes to mind for you?
I think athletic training, forget all the formal training that I had in medical schools and that sort of thing. I think I learned more from athletics than anything else, because you're out there with people from all walks of life, all racial backgrounds, different parts of the world. You're on the same page, you have a common goal. You go through very intense athletic training, and the level that I played, is all the best of the best, all pre-NFL guys and sort of thing. And so, I think anybody in the healing arts really should be required to have a sports background. Now, I'm biased because I'm an old jock, but it's really true. Because if you haven't been in your own body and pushed it to the limits, and got together with other individuals with a common goal, which gets you in this collective consciousness, it's really it would have been a lot more difficult for me to relate to my clinical practice later on, and also be involved in some of my training aspects of kinesiology and naturopathy and so forth, because you learn through your own body. Your body becomes your test tube, and it's how I learned the best. And then everything else after that was just academics. It gave me vocabularies and that sort of thing.
Well said. So we met through Mark Herrding, who was one of our speakers, the Conscious Athletes, and Mark just raves about him. He's like, there's no one on the planet that knows what he knows. And I looked at his website, I started reading it. It's so articulate, it's so well written, and it's so true. And then I went into some of the training stuff, because I've been athleticism performance coach for 20 years, and he was doing the same stuff we're doing that no one else was even doing. And so it was just so fun to see his input and his take on the body. Now, talk to us about preparation and some of the exercises that you tied in. I know I talked about some neurostacking that I do. Share with us some of the things that you enjoy doing or did as well.
Yeah, I'm more traditionalist, and I'm still consider myself a student, and I'm always like going on websites like yours and trying to keep current as far as new techniques and trying to stay on the edge of things. My background goes back to traditional sports. I had a chance to go either baseball or football. I chose football, but because of the type of training I did, I don't have a body that is naturally 300 pounds, but I learned how through nutrition and through intensive resistance training and different kinds of high-level integration for movement, because those sports you don't want to just be big, you have to move. I learned how to go from a natural, 200-pound baseball player to a 285-pound defensive end. And so I was always pushing my body weights, my different kinds of training to get different sort of bodies. So I learned how to, again, it translated back to medicine very well. But then when I retired from football, I really missed the contact element of sports and just that kind of competitiveness, because that was always kind of fun for me. So I turned to martial arts. And originally I started, I was in Kempo circles and that sort of thing, which is more of a, linear hard styles, we would call them. And then over the years, I did a lot of full contact fighting and that sort of thing. But still you're integrating your body so that you're moving in all different planes and learning how to conduct your energy from the inside out to move your body parts and instead of, traditional Western style sports where it's kind of the reverse. I wish that I would have known more about that when I was playing ball in the old days. And because of a lot of injuries and all the typical things that people like myself pick up over the years, I turned more to internal martial arts, which trains the body and the neurological systems even to a higher degree. With Bagua training and Xing Yi training, which were my two that I stuck with the last 35 years. It not only gets you comfortable moving all three planes simultaneously and getting that kind of neurological integration, but it also allows you to integrate your mind directing everything from the inside, so that you're already doing the movements in the inside before your body catches up to the outside, and so it creates a lot more efficiency. You don't beat up your body as much, and and again, with my training in kinesiology and that sort of thing, where we take people with different problems, everything from neurological disorders, autism, that kind of thing, and retrain their nervous system. It's very helpful when you've done that yourself, and when you take them through different movements and understand what you're really doing with that individual.
Definitely. Well, let's keep going with him on this whole concept of it. I mean, talk to us about the energy, moving that energy from martial arts and then into the applied kinesiology world and muscle testing, your background with Klinghardt and working with them for an extensive period of time, and what you're doing on a day-to-day basis with your patients.
Yeah. So early on, when I was in some of the pioneering circles of applied and clinical kinesiology, and I was very fortunate back in those days where I learned osteopathic techniques and meridian therapy and things from some of the icons that aren't around anymore, and I was fortunate that they took me under their wing and I was able to learn from them. And because of the inroads we were making back in the 70s and 80s in clinical kinesiology, which was a very sophisticated understanding of neurology, some notable doctors from Germany and France and elsewhere came to study with us, and then they introduced us to what they were doing in Europe, but they were very impressed with the inroads we had made ourselves. So some of those people, the early ones, especially from Germany that came over, it became a very good exchange program. And again, just an integration of things that would incorporate a lot of things from traditional Europe that would be considered maybe even bordering metaphysical, but now we have the science to back it up. Like some of my early mentors were very versed in Rudolf Steiner methods and understanding, and I've studied with a lot of those people. So, and interestingly, it correlated very strongly with what I learned from some of my mentors in the area of Oriental medicine, different terminologies and cultural contexts, but talking about the same exact thing. So when you go into the internal arts, or what I learned from some of these Steiner kind of people, it really helps the Western mind integrate thought patterns from other cultures and makes it more understandable for the Western mind, so you're not, dabbling in something that seems unreal or metaphysical. And so then when you get into the actual practices, either in kinesiology and some of these other things, or when you're practicing the arts, you're not with that understanding, with both sides of your brain, you've reconciled the two halves, so you're no longer in conflict, so it becomes very easy to incorporate these concepts and make them accessible. And one of the things that I'm really endeavoring to do with Alpha Vedic is to make a lot of this information accessible to this part of the world. There's brilliant people out there doing wonderful work, but I think there's a little bit of a gap that a lot of these vocabularies are still borrowed from other cultures, and they seem a little bit occult to us over here. And when we understand what they're really talking about, when you understand the principles of people like Walter Russell, who understood the real physics behind it, now people like ourselves can, really harness the ability of our mind and direct the energy. For instance, any kind of movement we're doing in the martial arts, it's already done internally before your body moves. Now, it takes a lot of years to integrate that in, but I think it's something that school kids should be learning, because not only does it give you greater potentials athletically, but you're really you're firing on all cylinders. So it's really a level of consciousness that has been hidden from us, I think, in this part of the world. And so that's what we're endeavoring to do, is to just really reach into levels of human potential that I don't think we're even getting close to yet.
I love it. I love it. Now, he's located on the California-Oregon border on the Smith River, and a really, really just a beautiful sanctuary property up there where it's isolated and it's just untainted in a lot of ways. And he's doing lots of agriculture up there. Share with us briefly about your suite of products, your wife and her horticulture experience, and what you're really creating in the quality of products.
Well, my wife, again, I'm very fortunate. We've been together over 40 years. We've been on a very similar path, so been very supportive of each other. And she's really done an immense amount of training, not just academically, on master gardening programs and permaculture by way of, again, Rudolf Steiner concepts and that sort of thing, and everything about organic growing. But she's owned and operated 2 nurseries, and she's got one of those green thumbs. She can make anything grow anywhere. So she's been my mentor, and now that I'm retired out of mostly clinical practice, I still consult, but my life is more about outside and my hands in the dirt. And at this point in my life, we're still feel young and vibrant, but we're kind of 70-ish. So, for me at this point, it's important to be, just grounded. The closest power lines are 20 miles away. And, we live a very different lifestyle. The other thing that we found for our company is, I've been formulating for a lot of years with all that I've learned. And the quality of herbs and things that we would get even from the best organic sources, we found we're leaving a lot to be desired, and we even third-party tested a lot of things, and even though some of these are organic, we found they really weren't. And so about 10 years ago, we started growing our own, and our goal is to grow everything that we have in our products. We're making good headway. We were a little bit south in Humboldt County now, and we moved just a year ago because we wanted more land. We needed more pure water. We're right on the river. We have natural springs, just wonderful soil. And so we grow our own medicinal crops. We're distilling our own essential oils, making things for our products. And what I learned in the medical field doing clinical work is that when you grow your own herbs, it's not just understanding the chemical properties, like something is a good kidney tonic or that sort. That's all wonderful. But when you grow your own herbs, you really learn the personality and the energetics firsthand. When you've propagated your own starts and you plant them, you follow them through multiple seasons, you get to know them on another whole level. And now when you use them in clinical practice or use them in products, it's much more meaningful. And I realized when I got out of naturopathic college a long time ago, you know, even though I thought I knew a lot about herbs, I really didn't. And you don't learn until you grow them. So our whole project there is not just about growing our own herbs, but we're doing teaching programs, bringing people that need to heal their bodies, and not just putting them through the things we've learned medically, but also getting them out in the garden to heal themselves, let the natural grounding frequencies heal them, because I know that you know, most of the problems that ail us are just because we're disconnected from the earth. So I think agriculture and small organic farms you know, are where we need to return to, and people need to get back outside. I feel strongly about that.
I love it. You guys, we just heard from Dr. Barre Lando, just a quick snapshot of 25 lives that he's lived already. And all I have to say is just go to alphabetic.com and check it out. And when you see his protein powders, they're not overly processed. They're absolutely unbelievable. You'll see instant energy back in your body right away. You have amino acids, you have teas, he has a suite of absolutely the highest quality products that I've ever seen marketed, and essentially because he's growing them personally. And so they're just fantastic. And then to have the knowledge that he has on top of that to grow these and formulate, just read the description of the products and you'll just go, I've never read anything like this in my life. And then when you get the product, it's that good as well. So we're going to end it here. You guys connect with him, alphabetic.com, and thank you so much.
And I appreciate everything you're doing. Thank you.
Oh, my pleasure, my pleasure. You guys, Dr. Barre Lando, going beyond, whole body, whole brain. I mean, an athlete, an industry expert, creator, unbelievable, unbelievable.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much.